Today we're going to be building the 1988 Monogram MiG-29. For an older kit, it has an impressive amount of detail. The MiG-29 came into service in 1983 as a response to the F-15 Strike Eagle. Like most of these older kits, we can start by removing, assembling, and painting our cockpit. The only piece I'm assembling before the painting process is the ejector seat. I'll start the painting process with some Vallejo flat black. Make sure we got good surface coverage and set that aside to dry. Now, finding reference photos for the MiG-29 cockpit was kind of tough. I found a few, but I couldn't find a good 360-degree view. My process is simple. I use a 5-0 brush and slowly work myself around my color wheel. Now we can start working on the air intakes that will be mounted on the bottom of the MiG-29. Old kits like this one are notorious for having fitment issues. Those gaps are an easy fix though. I will admit the intakes are hard to get seated properly and the seams are going to take a lot of sanding. I like how the jet joins horizontally, not vertically. The first step to addressing these gaps is sanding. I start off with 400 to 600 grit. After a significant amount of time sanding, it's finally time to add some filler putty. I'm using Vallejo filler putty. I like it for the nozzle. I then use a Q-tip to push it into the cracks and clean up the excess. After addressing all the seams on the air intake, allow 30 minutes to dry before coming in with a less aggressive sandpaper like 1200 to 1500. Like I said, come back over with a second coat of Vallejo plastic putty. Once that's dried, use a high grit sandpaper like 1200 to 1500. Repeat this process until you can slide your finger across the surface without feeling a gap. Moving on to assembling the jet nozzles, there's a little bit of flash and supports to remove. Now I'm only going to be mounting 4 of the pieces together to make the painting process easier. This is the piece that will not be glued in place. Painting our jet nozzles, I'm going to start with flat black Vallejo primer. Since the nozzles have many recessed crevices, make sure to rotate them while painting. After you have adequate surface coverage, apply a coat of gloss clear coat. Now apply the base coat to our jet nozzles. I'm now using a gold Sharpie oil paint pen to highlight every second row. Once that's dry, I use Model Colors Smoke to simulate the burnt effect on the jet exhaust. Apply this heavier towards the end of the jet exhaust where the metal would burn. Do this until you get a desired result. I like more weathered models, so I'm doing it to my likings. This was as easy as 4 steps and not overcomplicated like a lot of videos are. With most of the sanding on the bottom of the fuselage complete, we can now add the cockpit. Now join our 2 fuselage halves before joining our 2 wing halves. Once the glue was dried on the wings, add the wings to the main airframe, followed by what I refer to as the tail fins. Like I said, this kit was released in 1988. Obviously, there's some filler putty to add to the gaps. With the main airframe of the MiG-29 together, we can now start addressing all the new gaps. By cleaning them up with a hobby knife, followed by some sandpaper. Once again, I'm using Vallejo filler putty. The slim nozzle makes it easy to leave a slim amount on the surface and then clean up with a Q-tip. I keep a bunch of Q-tips handy to continuously clean up any excess filler putty that might be left on the model. This can be a little bit more tricky on recessed detail aircraft. A little bit of masking tape can help. If some happens to get in a recessed detail, you can always carve it back out with a hobby knife. I don't care what you say, for a kit from 1988, it looks cool. Before painting, we must install the last couple pieces like the pylons that will hold the missiles. Also these fin sensors. Before taping the canopy up, I give the aircraft one last inspection to make sure everywhere is sanded. After we get our MiG-29 primed black, we can start doing some panel lining. This is going to help create differences in tone to the camouflage applied above. I'm using gray silver for the shading. You can see by applying the paint in different thicknesses, you get different shades. This is a really good exercise for practicing airbrush control. You can see where each panel comes to life. So I guess that's why this technique is called panel lining. It'll look better once the gray-green camo is on. Now that the panel lining is on this 1988 model kit, we can apply our gray. Slowly, as I fill the aircraft in, you can see the different colors sit subtly in the background. This helps the aircraft not have a monotone look and appear toyish. Slowly build up the base color so you can control how much of the pre-shading sits in the background. I see a spot that needs touched up on the fins, but this starts to look less like a piece of plastic. Now we can apply our camo pattern. I'm using a poster tack mask to border the camo. One of my favorite parts of any model build is picking out my camouflage pattern. Typically, I Google reference photos in order to pick out my camouflage pattern. As you can see, some areas need a touch-up, but that's okay, we've still yet to do our tail fin area. For cleaning up the camo pattern, obviously I gotta solidify the color in a few areas. I also apply the poster tack mask to tie into the existing camouflage pattern. The camouflage pattern really helps this 1988 kit come to life. Still have to paint the nose cone and the wheel wells. I noticed in my reference photos the nose and the ends of the tail fins were painted this dark gray, kind of blackish color. Removing masking tape can be so nerve-wracking. You never know if you're gonna have bleed lines. This old 1988 kit is really starting to clean up. Now moving on to painting the accessories that go with this model kit. We still have the missiles, the landing gear doors, our pilot figure. I think I'm gonna call him Vladimir. While the primer on those pieces dries, I paint the landing gear bays dark gray. Time to paint our missiles. Once they are removed from the sprue and cleaned up, we can look at our box for a reference. I'm going to be taping off areas of the primer and using this for the black lines represented on the missiles. I've seen this as an easier approach than painting the black lines pre-hand. The color I'm using for the missiles is off-white. Once I have good coverage on the missiles, I'll tape off the caps of the larger ones and paint them gray. Before removing the landing gear and retracting doors from the sprue, I decided to add a little paint to them. One thing that's interesting about the MiG is the wheels are a different color than the landing gear. The landing gear is a dark gray, whereas the wheel is a dark green. I'll clean up the overspray with a paint marker later on. With the base color now on the landing gear and wheels, we can remove them from the sprue before adding some secondary colors. I start with dark aluminium to paint on the shock absorbers, then followed by flat black and dark red to paint on the oil catch cans and wires. I then use rubber black on the wheels. These are easy to do without a mask because they have a lip. Now that mostly everything is painted, we can move on to applying some satin clear coat on our model. This is my first time applying clear coat through an airbrush. I find it's hard to tell if you got good surface coverage using an airbrush to apply clear coat. This is a much cheaper alternative to an aerosol can. I'm gonna be trying something I've never tried before: taping and painting the inside and outside of the canopy. This takes time to line up, especially on the inside of the canopy. I've never wished I've had smaller hands before this. This was an easy windscreen to do. I could see some models being nightmares. Now that the clear coat has had sufficient time to cure, we can move on to applying our decals. For those of you who get upset over the way I say decals, this is how parts of Canada and most of Great Britain pronounces it. It works out that there's only 8 decals I'll be applying because I'm almost out of microsol. The decal stage is always such an improvement to any model. With everything but Vladimir the pilot painted, it's time to get him off the sprue and assembled. Once he's assembled, it's a good idea to make sure he can fit into the cockpit properly. I'm using the airbrush to spray on a dark green. This is his uniform color. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on our pilot figure, as he's going in a 1988 kit with not a lot of surface detail. You can see a few areas he'll need to be touched up, but I do that off camera when he's 6 inches from my eyes. Now moving on to assembling the landing gear, the first one goes together easy. Both rear landing gears have fitment issues connecting to the wheel and connecting to the plane. This can be corrected with a little light sanding. Now that all 3 sub-assemblies are complete, we can go ahead and connect them to the bottom of the plane. It's nice to see the plane now supported by its wheels so it can't get chipped sliding on its belly. Finally, we can add our landing gear doors, Vladimir, our pilot, both of our jet engine nozzles. Now the only pieces left are the canopy and the missiles. For a 1988 kit, it cleans up well. Now we can do a little therapeutic mask removal. I find this is more of an anxiety stage for me, as I'm praying I have no bleed lines. I'm lucky I only had one small bleed. It was easy to clean with a wet cotton bud. I'm using a small amount of white glue to secure my canopy. I still haven't made it to my hobby store as it's over 2.5 hours away. Thankfully, I'm going there next week. Now we can remove the masking tape from our missiles and add them to the bottom of the MiG-29. I'm not going to be doing any oil weathering on the MiG-29. It's just such a low detail kit, it's not worth the time in my opinion. Just gotta appreciate it for what it is, a 1988 kit. If you look closely at the nose, you'll see I added 2 sensors off camera. So this is my finished MiG-29. This is my 4th modern aircraft build and probably my 20th total model kit build. I looked online at more modern kits and it's night and day the difference in surface detail. The more modern kits start at around $65 Canadian without the tax and shipping, whereas I found this one locally to me for $20 even.